y'all, welcome or welcome back. My name is Casey Lynn. I'm an intuitive tarot reader, and today we're going to be doing a pick a card reading. Today we are looking into the question, what can I do to start healing my traumas? What can I do to heal my trauma? All of us are carrying trauma in some way, shape, or form. I personally think that's quite a big word. So for some of you watching today, these might be very intense, kind of extreme topics that we're talking about. But pain doesn't really have a measurable scale from person to person. So, someone could just have trauma from being ignored. They could have trauma from not getting the call back from their casting audition, right? Like, trauma can really manifest itself in a lot of ways. And I think what's most important to observe and understand about trauma is it really seeps into our subconscious, and even though we feel as if we have healed the event of it happening, a lot of the times we don't realize that some of the choices we make and the pitfalls we go through later in life really do stem back to this subconscious seed of trauma. So today we're going to look into just very quickly into maybe what the trauma is surrounding. Like I said, I'm reading for a lot of people, and trauma can vary in degree from person to person. So just kind of an overall spiritual energy take on, this particular lesson. And then we're going to look into several different ways. I have several different decks, several different ways of how we can, maybe heal those traumas, whether that is a spiritual lesson to be learned, whether that is healing a particular chakra, whether that's working with particular crystals, spiritual or physical. We're going to cover it today. So as you can see here, I do have my 3 card piles. We have pile 1, which is the title card to the deck that I'm using today, which is the African Tarot Journey into Self, which was created by Marina Romito. This card I personally leave in the deck because I always think it's interesting when it comes out. I do believe that it is an energy of its own. So pile 1 is the African Tarot title card. Pile 2 is the 9 of Swords, and pile 3 is the 8 of Pentacles. So right now I want you to take a deep breath, focus in, look at each of those cards, see which one resonates with you, and I will find you in your reading. Hi pile 1, if you chose the African Tarot title card, this is your reading. The first thing I want to say is this might be my spiritual pile, my psychics, my people that are very sensitive or empathic. The reason I say that, and I kind of alluded to this in the intro, is that I always leave the title cards in my decks because I think it holds the energy of the entire wisdom of the deck, right? This is introducing you to it. This is, in short terms, giving you everything that you need to know, which to me very much translates as a medium or a clairvoyant or a psychic, right? So I think it's interesting that we picked this card off right off the bat for how do we heal our traumas. I'd like to get a little more energy on this. Interesting. All right, pile 1. Well, the trauma or the wound, I feel like, is very present in your life right now and showing up in a lot of ways, you know, subconsciously. Again, I feel like this is my spiritual pile. I feel like this is my psychics. This is at the very least, a pile of people, people who chose this pile are, you know, I want to say like emotional intellectuals, okay? Because what your spirit guides are painting a picture for me, you guys, is somebody who has gone through an awakening, somebody that has learned how to heal, somebody that knows how to meditate, that you know, knows how the universe works, that doesn't necessarily get caught up in a lot of dramas or doesn't really let a lot of things bother them, because they have this spiritual wisdom and knowledge, you know, that we always transcend, and we can always, you know, we create our own realities, right? This is somebody who very much understands how all of these modalities and how the universe itself works. And I feel like that in itself, pile one, is almost the trauma, is almost the subconscious seed, because we're in this energy now where, you know, maybe we're 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 years into being an ascended person, to, you know, understanding these things and going with the flow and balancing our energies. And it's so much so to the point that it almost feels numb. It almost feels like you guys don't heal anymore, or practice healing, or practice mindfulness, because you've already done it. Because you subconsciously remember the undertaking you had to go through in order to heal and to be better, and all of the time and the effort that you had to invest in yourself. And girl, you are exhausted. The trauma itself is you are exhausted, and you don't even understand why. You think it's work, you think it's, you know, these things that you're chasing. So all you want to do is you want to sit at home, you want to order takeout, you don't want to cook, you don't want to do anything healthy, you want to decompress. And your spirit guides are saying it is not because of the current energies in your life. This is a subconscious, internal exhaustion that we have gone through, because we've undergone so much healing, and our mind is constantly on, you know, intuition mode and kind of flowing and accepting energy. You are allowing a lot of energy to move and to sway you without actually grounding down and focusing on what energy you want, because you're trying to distract yourself. You're trying to distract yourself from going backwards and having to heal again. So you just keep being like, oh, my investments are growing. It's gonna work out. It's slowly but surely. I don't need to meditate anymore. I've already done the healing. I'm in the process of receiving. So I don't have to do any work anymore. And like I said, for a lot of us, I don't think we even realize this, because I think this is a subconscious trauma that we didn't even realize that we went through, because we categorized it as healing. But in fact, it was a trauma to go through every little piece of your past and your childhood and all of the resentments that you've had, and feel them over again, just so you could heal. It's almost as if you had to experience all of your traumas that you tried to run from. You had to heal them in order to become a more ascended spiritual person. So you had to relive them again. And the fact that this has made you so awake and open and intuitive, you have this like fear that if you do that, if you meditate every day, if you stick to a routine and to healthy habits and all of this, y'all, there's a fear that your crown chakra is going to open up too big, that your heart chakra is going to open up too big, that you're going to have to continuously analyze everything and be hurt by it just so you can heal from it. That's what the real trauma is, dude. We're afraid to go even deeper or maintain some sort of spiritual routine, because we're afraid that it's going to straight up exhaust us. Not that we can't do it, not that we don't understand the importance of it. It's almost a little bit of ignorance is bliss. And I think that that's translating into your life right now, that maybe we aren't really thinking decisions all the way through, and or we're thinking about them from that scared state of being. Well, the last time I tried this, I was in that healing mode and it didn't work out, and I don't want to have to go through that again. But maybe you're not healing now and you won't go through that again, but we're still in that subconscious fear and that trauma that it's just going to be a pattern and repeat over and over again. And so we're kind of currently living in this ignorance is bliss. And girl, maybe there are some things, I just saw 44 on the screen. Maybe there are some things in your life that seem like they're going really well. And if a psychic reader told you, a tarot reader told you, oh, you're having issues in your relationship, or, oh, how come you're not happy at your job? They would probably surprise the shit out of you. Like, I thought I was vibing. I thought I was vibing on the universe. I thought I was cool and I was healing. I was aligning with my abundance. It may come as a shock to you to realize that, you know, some of these things actually aren't aligned with you and you don't like, and you're not okay. And we're trying to use that spirituality and that raised consciousness to just be love and light and to always be okay, forgetting that we're in a third dimension, y'all. We're probably never going to be 100% okay 100% of the time. It's not the point of the show. You feel me? It's to experience, to go through things. And so we have to keep going through that cycle. The first thing that you can do to heal is understand that life is a cycle. And just because you have healed and you've overcome something doesn't mean that you're always going to receive more bad things to heal from. But if you view life in that way, that something so horrible happened to you, maybe multiple times, that you had to go through so much to heal it, you are actually blocking out a lot of good energy because you're living in that state of fear. So the first thing that we can do is to understand that life is cyclical, and not look at this healing process that you've went through as this hard, awful thing. Maybe it was in the moment, girl, but again, you've ascended, you've healed, you've done this already, you've invested in yourself, you know how the universe works. If you should so happen to need to heal again, right? Like, let's say you finally do 100% open yourself up to love in a relationship, okay? And then that hurts you and you're like, oh, well, this is exactly the reason I didn't do it, right? Should you so happen to get hurt again, it's not going to take as much to heal because you've already been through it. So I think that we need to open up again. I think we need to start being that naive self that we were before, that thought yoga and cooking healthy meals was going to solve our problems, right? That thought everybody that loved us is going to love us eternally, to think that this job has my best interests at heart and I enjoy being here and I want to work really hard at it, right? We need to go back to that naivety, I really feel like, is what's happening, because we almost feel like we know everything. You know, like you can't tell me nothing is this energy, and that nothing is turning to apathy, it's turning to boredom, and it's seeking into your current life and your current consciousness, and I really feel like it's keeping you from receiving the abundance you're just sitting around waiting for, because you've done the healing. So where is it at, right? Well, you've put that block on yourself. Whoo, child. All right, what else? What's going on with this energy, and how can we heal it? It says career transition, but it was in the reverse, which says stagnant, boredom, scarcity, stuck. Y'all, this is what I'm talking about. They were bringing forward this energy, especially like with career, right? Like, we know which way we want to go. We know we know the path to get there. We know the universe will always provide, even if it's not career specifically, though it kind of feels like it is for this pile, right? I feel like the traumas we have surrounding our career is, in fact, that we think we know everything. Girl, I gotta keep it real with you. And Jesus Christ, if this is not my pile also, so don't let me fool you. Spirits are yelling at me too, okay? the reason your career or your financial trajectory seems like it's stagnant and bored and it's repeating itself is because you feel like you've already learned everything there was to learn. I've already been through this before. I've already tried this before. I've already changed jobs. I've already switched careers. I've already done this. And nope, I did that last time. If somebody suggests something to you, nope, I tried that last time and it didn't work. We're very much stuck in this scarcity and lack state of mind because we feel or we remember what it was to heal from that. And so it's like you're making your career decisions based on when you were in this healing energy. You feel me? So like when we were in this healing state, we needed to make certain decisions when it came to career. We needed to make certain decisions when it came to love in that particular moment. Those particular choices do not align with you now. That is what your spirit guides are saying. When you just needed the cheapest building to move into, then that is not what you need now. When you just needed to get the fuck away from your person, that's not what you need now, right? Like there's this energy that you're bringing forward, these beautiful spiritual intuitional choices you were making while you were healing into the now, and then we're trying to disassociate or avoid those feelings because we're attaching them to that past, and it's like that exhausted us. I don't want to have to go back to that. I don't want to have to get the cheapest place and then have to take care of it, or leave my person that was probably a good person and not have that support, right? The two choices are not one and the same. And so your boredom, friends, your scarcity, your just wanting to sit at home and fucking binge Netflix and eat a bunch of Taco Bell and, not go to my workout class, whatever it is for you, not do your paper, not do your research, not make your YouTube video, girl. Now they're talking to me, aren't they? It is because of this. And so we need to 100%, how can we heal this trauma? One of the things they want me to tell you is that we need to cut that goddamn cord, y'all. Where we are right now is not where we were when we were becoming spiritually aware and it felt like the world was crashing down on us because there was so much wisdom. There was so much shit brought to light during whatever this trauma you went through, right? Whether your person cheated on you or you became spiritual or you lost your job, like it was COVID, I don't care. Whatever it was, right? There was so much wisdom put on you that it just shifted your entire world. But you do already know all that now. Right? Like if somebody told you create your own reality, it's not going to blow your fucking mind in the relationship to realize you're attracting the same type of people. It's not going to hit you the same way that it did then, right? So when it comes to career decisions or any sort of decisions you're making, or the fact that you're feeling bored and you're feeling stagnant, it's because you're trying to make decisions and choices here in the present to move forward based on past feelings. Well, if I'm trying to move forward on past feelings, that just brings me to now, right? So I'm just cycling in the now. I'm not actually moving forward because what I'm looking to look forward, I'm actually looking back, which is only just bringing me back to exactly where I was to begin with. Do you feel me? Cut the cord of the past. Stop. This isn't going to happen to you again. And if it does, you understand that you create your own reality. And it's just because we keep going back to the past and making our decisions now based on those circumstances. Let go of that. Stop. Pretend that didn't even exist, girl. Time's not even real. That was in another dimension. That was in another lifetime. That was in a dream you had. None of that failed business, that failed marriage, whatever, girl. That didn't happen, okay? As of right now, boom, you're hypnotized. Move forward. Make your decisions based on today. How's your business doing today? How do you feel today? What are your hopes and dreams today? Not back when you were healing. What else? This is fun. I feel like I'm screaming at everybody. But again, it's because this pile, I feel like, speaks to your spirit guides already. I feel like you are already connected, and it's like your spirit guides are trying to give you these messages, girl, because you're capable of receiving them, but it's just like, no, I'm just gonna get some Taco Bell and watch YouTube instead of actually listening. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like they're screaming. My hands are too freaking small for this deck. Feast. Interesting with the food again. This pile may be struggling with food, and I feel like when we were back in that healing state of mind, we were maybe a little healthier. We were maybe not eating as much junk because we weren't trying to fill a void of any kind, which now that we're bored and we're stagnant, it's like we're trying to fill this void. So you may be craving a lot of grease or sugar or just like fun, you know what I mean? Just even like literally getting out of your house and like going to eat somewhere is more fun than sitting in the same house you've been sitting in for days on end, you know? But what I find interesting, you know, slow down and celebrate yourself. I think that's a very interesting message, especially considering how bored and stagnant you feel, okay? Because spirit guides always be talking about ride the void, right? Like we're in this void and we feel like we're doing nothing and nothing's happening and I'm not making enough money and I'm not meeting the love of my life, or, you know, and we feel like we're doing something wrong. And they're always like, no, ride the void, stay in the void. It's kind of what this energy is, but understanding why you are here at the same time. So while you're in this void, in this stagnancy, you are not actually just chilling and watching Netflix. You are not actually just bored and having nothing to do. Pile one, you guys are having so much to do, and or there's so much going on in your brain about where you're supposed to be, like trying to make all these decisions. Is this the right decision, girl? You're probably watching way too many psychic readings or pulling too many cards yourself, right? Just like really overthinking, and your brain is just freaking on 10. We need to slow down. We need to celebrate where we are now. Again, if this is a business thing or a career path thing, it's not about looking to okay, so I'm doing good now, so let's expand and let's do more and let's, you know, where am I going to be in 5 years? Okay, I'm making this much now, but if I get my own space or something, then I'll double my profits, or this, and so now we're looking towards the future. No. Can we just celebrate ourselves today? Can we just say today I did my chores? Today, I finally made a decision that wouldn't have aligned with past me, but it aligns with me today, and it's making me happy today and not future or past, right? It's really about slowing down, even in your stagnancy, right? Going back to that meditation, slowing down your brain. And yeah, girl, it might bring up some shit that we were trying to get past, that we didn't want to talk about anymore, and we didn't want to revisit, but slowing down and meditating really is going to give you those answers that you need and want based on your soul alignment, as opposed to what you've previously experienced. If you don't want to experience what you've already previously experienced, then stop thinking about the past and making your decisions based on that. Ask your spirit guides, okay? They're also talking about, you know, just how to heal this trauma in general, just like a practical way, instead of this whole, like, you know, we got to learn the spiritual lesson. Literally slowing down. Like if you can slow down when you're like chewing your food, okay? It doesn't necessarily make this is what your spirit guides are saying, girl. I'm not a nutritionist, okay? Just don't shoot the messenger. But they're saying, like, even if you did have like a hankering to go out and eat some food or get a greasy burger or whatever, if you chew it very slowly and you're very mindful and you're very present and you're focusing on one thing while you're eating it instead of 100 things while you're eating it, you will in fact get full and eat less, right? It also trains your brain to just slow down and focus on that one thing. Like when we are trying to make a decision, right? You know, of course we're thinking about today, and in some situations how much it costs, or, you know, in some situations how this might upset another person, right? We're sitting down, we're making these decisions, but then our brain starts to go to the future. Well, if this happens, or they react this way, or what if I don't have the money, or this or that. Now we're off into the future, right? We're thinking about things that have not happened yet. We need to come back just to today. And I think it's important, you know, they're saying celebrate yourself. Like, this isn't pile one about not treating yourself when you are overworked and exhausted. You know, it's still being able to celebrate yourself, but in a way that you don't need to replenish yourself. Like, it's almost like gassing yourself up. That way you have enough gas, as opposed to like running yourself to E and then just trying to do anything, greasy food, going out, having fun, sleeping all day, doing nothing to kind of compensate for it. Healthy food, my guy. They keep bringing up food. My goodness. Alright, y'all, for the last card I was going to pull here, we have the crystal rhodochrosite. It says, remember your worth. So practically speaking, rhodochrosite, I really believe, will help you carry that crystal on you. I know this is really, really good for higher vibrational heart chakras. So still being able to have compassion for things and yourself, but also putting up boundaries. And I got to keep it real with you right now. I think your boundaries are with yourself, friend. I think your trauma is you, friend. I think that we need to remember, y'all, it's deeper than just like remembering your worth, because I think that you guys know your worth and think that, you know, you are deserving of everything that you want. But then sometimes when we don't get it in the amount of time or in the way that we want it, we start to really panic and feel like, well, maybe this isn't right for me. Maybe this isn't my path. Maybe I wasn't supposed to do this. And then we start to kind of avoid and detach, right? And not want to go back through that healing. So remembering your worth is not specifically, at least in this case, talking to you about like as a person, remembering your worth, like remembering what you are deserved, right? And not making choices and taking action based on what we thought our worth was back then, or what we think we're worthy of going forward, but here today. You know what I mean? Like, if we sit around in bed all day, are we worthy of having a client book a reading? Are we worthy of having our crush call us? Or if we're out doing healthy things, eating healthy, loving life, doing our yoga, you know, meditating, whatever, are we worthy then of having an opportunity pop up for us, or having, you know, the love of our life reach out? Yeah. You know that internal worth system. You are aware. You're very intuitive. You know how the universe works. So we need to remember that on a day-to-day basis. It's not beating yourself up about doing nothing and being stagnant. You're allowed to rest. But knowing what you deserve right here and right now from that, remembering what you're worth, my friend. If you're worried that people aren't reaching out to you, or, you know, booking your services, or promoting you at work, or giving you your recognition that you deserve, on some underlying level, it's because you're going to this past healing and spiritual awakening you've been through, and you're holding on to that trauma and assessing your worth off of that version of you. And we're keeping ourselves from transforming even more because we're exhausted and afraid of what it took to get us here in the first place. All right, friends, to wrap it all up for you, we need to make sure we're taking action. We need to make sure that we are exercising specifically, we're eating healthy, we are staying in some sort of spiritual routine. It doesn't have to be all of the above. Meditation is fine, 5 minutes a day. Just this pile in particular, you need some sort of spiritual routine, because right now we're pushing all of those things off on this subconscious trauma level that we're going to know too much. We're going to get in too deep again. We're going to have to heal all over, and it's going to kind of change our world again instead of just maintaining it. So we need some sort of spiritual routine. Rhodochrosite, the crystal, absolutely keep that with you. And then just make sure that whatever, you know, is freaking you out right now, right? Know that your subconscious trauma is cycling back to the last time you went through this situation, or feared this situation, and it's making its decisions on that. So be conscious and present and aware to do the opposite of that, right? Make your choices and decisions now, not back then. Just pretend that never happened. I promise you, you'll feel better. All right, pile one, that was your reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. More than anything, I hope it helped you in some way. Either way, if you want to give me a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, it really helps grow my business at no cost to you. If you want to book a private reading with me, something a little more personal, please feel free to do so. My website is in the description box below. You can also buy some of these decks I have used here today as well, and there will be a tip jar if you want to buy me a soda pop, girl. Until next time, bye. Hi, pile two. If you chose the Eight of Swords, welcome. This is your reading. It has been a bit of a time jump. I have different nails now. A lot got in the way, y'all, but here we are. So, okay, the first thing, you know, when it comes to how can you heal your traumas, everybody's trauma is obviously different, and for the most part, everybody's trauma is essentially a mental thing, right? Like it's something that we sort of keep reliving. But what your spirit guides want me to tell you, pile two, in regards to your specific trauma, whatever that may be for you, a lot of this is internal. A lot of this is our own mental psyche sort of taking us back through over and over and over the things that have happened to us, or maybe we've done wrong, or, you know, whatever that trauma is, as opposed to sort of outside triggers. Now, I'm not saying that your trauma wasn't triggered from something external, right? I'm not saying that this trauma is 100% self-induced by any means, okay? But your spirit guides are saying that truly, pile two, if we can find a way to break ourselves free from this entrapment we feel in regards to this trauma, I think it could go away completely. I don't feel like we would be triggered from an external source again, because the center and the root of the reliving of it and the reason that we can't get over it does seem to be us and internal and kind of cycling back to it all of the time. You know, I think it's interesting, they keep pointing me to this bird here, and how, you know, the Eight of Swords really talks about being trapped, right? It's like a mental prison. And your spirit guides are here on, you know, seeing it from a bird's eye view and saying, girl, like, the fence is only behind you. You think it's in front of you, but you're blindfolded. But really, you could just walk out of this entrapment. You know what I mean? And I have to keep it real with you, pile two. Y'all's spirit guides are talking about that we have become so synonymous with our trauma at this point that we have concluded that it's part of our personality. And I even feel like while we are trying to use that thing that happened to us as a positive, like let's say we're using that to, I don't know, dude, like write a book or help other people, or just to propel ourselves forward, right? Like, I was a victim in this, and so I have to be strong and I have to keep going. Your spirit guides are saying that whatever this trauma is for y'all, we are holding it to our personality. We are holding it to our own heart chakra and saying, this is mine. And if it is going to be mine, then I have to incorporate it in every aspect of my life in order to either heal or overcome it. And y'all, pile two, that's exactly what y'all spirit guides is saying, is like, we are almost holding this with us. We are almost keeping ourselves trapped in it by always referencing back to it, even if it's in a positive light. Like, we need to get to a point where we start seeing our value and our worth in other things other than this thing that we've overcome. Yeah, this trauma was awful, pile two. This trauma, you know, shut you off to the world and made you not want to see the world or people for who they really are. Like, it really fucked y'all up. I'm not saying it didn't. However, we are more than that. Like, I know that it was terrible and we had to get over it, and there's beauty within that. You know, I've had to overcome this, and my strength is, you know, a pillar from whatever this foundation was. But your spirit guides are saying, if we want to heal this, like once and for all, we have to separate from it. We have to be more than it, and we have to find motivation outside of it, right? If everything, how you heal things, y'all, truly just take this with you and everywhere and everything in life, is you do the opposite of it. If you do not like the energy that something is providing, something is giving, something is manifesting, then you must do its opposite, right? There's no good or bad, there's no right or wrong, you just do its opposite. And so in this particular situation, if your trauma is something that we are holding and we are owning, then the opposite of that is to not own it anymore. The opposite of that is to say, that didn't even happen to me. I'm not a victim in that situation, you know? Let's get a little more energy on this. I don't know if you noticed, I was struggling to put the cards together, right? Like when I'm shuffling, they didn't just go together very nicely, like normal, kind of like this, right? Because now that I'm telling you about it, I'm channeling a different energy, so they went together, right? But when I was channeling y'all's energy, it's like the pieces wouldn't go together. And again, y'all, that's almost this energy they're giving me where like you're trying to fit this trauma as a puzzle piece into your current life and your current framework, and it's like they're just not going together. There's still this hesitation to heal. There's still this not wanting to let go because it's a piece of our puzzle. It's like we've integrated it, right? But at the same time, it's like it's not coming together. It's an energy that no longer serves you, which I know that you know, but like, you know. Bruh. This is what I'm talking about. The Three of Wands. We are using this entrapment and looking forward and seeing, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all, in some people's journey, right? Like, this thing happens to them and it is intended to propel them forward. It is something that happened to teach them something, some sort of wisdom that they can give to other people, right? Like I said, write a book, do something with it. In your instance, pile 2, I don't think it's supposed to be. I don't think you're supposed to look into the future carrying this trauma. I don't think you're supposed to integrate it into your life in order to overcome it. For y'all, I think it's letting it go completely. It's not nurturing the idea anymore. It's not saying that this defines me. You're not supposed to use this trauma in order to succeed, in order to get further, whether that's in a career sense or a hobby sense or literally just an emotional sense. This particular trauma that y'all clicked on this video for is supposed to be done already, okay? It is supposed to be done already, and you're supposed to be shifting and transitioning more into taking care of yourself, because pile 2, y'all's trauma is gonna be different for everybody. Obviously, I'm channeling for a lot of people, but it has to do with being nurtured. It has to do with being provided for and taken care of emotionally, physically, financially, so you feel secure in your future, so you feel prepared and independent and ready to, you know, take on your life. And whatever trauma this was, it took away from that. It did not allow you to have that. And so now it's like we keep going back and we keep thinking to, like, you know, maybe it's how we grew up. Maybe we didn't get certain privileges other people did. Maybe our parents were pieces of shit to us and didn't give us certain opportunities, right? And it's like we're supposed to have transitioned out of that and started to nurture ourselves and give ourselves that love and attention and affection, or, you know, intimacy, or whatever this issue is for you. We're supposed to be giving that to ourselves, but we actually keep going back and saying, well, the reason, a storm is coming now, y'all. The reason I can't do these things, the reason I can't provide for myself, the reason I can't see my future, or I'm destined to always be poor, or I'm destined to always be alone and never have a lover, I'm destined to be with narcissists, all of these things, is because we're not providing for ourselves. We're still looking at that external factor and saying that it still has an effect on us, even if this was years ago, y'all. My coffee is cold, and it's interesting when I thought, oh shit, my coffee's cold. You know, someone's spirit guide was like, and that's the energy also, and that's the metaphor here, right? Is like the coffee's gone cold on this girl. Why are we still trying to drink the fucking cup? Oh shit. See, and let me tell y'all. Oh my God, I want to cry. There's so much to be loved about you, pile 2. And you know this, but you are looking towards outside circumstances to help you or to validate you or make you feel, to confirm the reasons in which you're beautiful and able to be loved. And I feel this overwhelming need to purge, to like word vomit, to like get all of this energy out, but we hold on to it until somebody can externally validate it back to us. Oh my God, yeah, you did go through that. Oh my God, yeah, you should have been treated better. You should have this and that. When your spirit guide is saying, but you are the one supposed to be doing that to yourself. I also think it's very, very important when we're talking specifically about what can I do to heal my traumas. Did you see the way the cards all spilled like that? We need to be talking about this, pile 2. We need to be expressing ourselves, whether that is to a friend, to a confidant, to a therapist, to a journal. For y'all specifically, especially because we started with swords energy, mental thought energy, like speaking energy, we need to get all of these feelings that we're feeling that maybe we don't even know how we feel them. We just know that I can't stop thinking about this particular thing. We need to purge all of that energy. Your spirit guides are saying that you are somebody who feels deeply and feels a lot of things in a compassionate and nurturing heart chakra space, but we never, I shouldn't say never, but we never express that. We never in the moment describe how we're feeling and say that we are hurt and say, I don't like this. It's only till later, when you're at home and you're reflecting and you have this anxiety and you're feeling trapped and why did I let this happen? And that's when we realize, oh, I should have said I didn't like it. All that's doing, pile 2, is pushing all of your feelings and your energy into your specifically throat chakra, but sacral chakra. And it's causing, if it hasn't already, it will cause like issues of indigestion and stomach problems and, kidney stones and liver and all of these things until eventually it becomes this sort of cancer within you. So how can you heal your trauma? What can you do to start healing your trauma? First and foremost, friend, is realize that the reason we're still having it is because we've built up all of this energy. We've pushed it into our own chakra system. And so first and foremost, we need to realize that it's, even though somebody external has done this to us or an outside situation out of our control has given us this trauma, we are currently holding on to the energy. So we need to tell ourselves that it's very, even if you don't believe this, y'all, tell yourself that it's very simple to heal this specific trauma because you are in full control of it, actually. And then we need to stop looking out to the future and bringing this with us. As of today, as of the time you click off of this video, this trauma, tell yourself, convince yourself, hypnotize yourself, this trauma does not exist anymore because you've released all the energy of it. And the next thing you really need to do is spill all of this shit. How do you release the energy? How do you release once it's been in your sacral chakra, once it's in your throat chakra? How do I get rid of it? You spill the emotion. You feel it now. And it's going to hurt. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to hurt to feel it all right now, pile 2. But if you don't feel it now, if you don't heal it now, if you don't release it now, it's going to build and build and build and build. And now imagine 5 years from now, you're trying to heal this, how more intense it's going to be, right? We got to get it out. I would even say energy healing, but someone's spirit guide's like, no, it's not about that. It's about speaking. It's about throwing it up. You know, when you're like sick and you just need to just puke and you feel better, that's what's going on with your energy right now, Katsu. Cat lady. In reverse, might I add. There's like a fear of being watched all of the time. There's a paranoia of being judged, of people thinking you're not as far along in life as you should be, of thinking you're strange, social anxiety. And again, your spirit guide keeps saying, girl, this all comes back to a mental entrapment. I don't think as many people are looking at you in this way as you think you do, as you think are. I think somebody in the past, some sort of situation, has made people look at you and maybe see some failures of yours, or maybe expected a certain thing from you. Maybe stalking you, girl. I don't know what type of, I'm channeling for a lot of people. Maybe you had a stalker or something, right? Maybe we had a weird situation. But as of right now, your spirit guides want me to rest assured that like this isn't still happening. And if it is, it's because we assume that everybody that we come into contact is doing this to us like that last person did, like that last situation did. You know? If somebody didn't believe in you and believe in your success, we've adopted that energy now. And now we think that everybody thinks we're not going to succeed, ourselves included. And so what does that do? When we trap ourselves in this, we manifest it. So you get more of the same. So how you can start to heal your trauma, and it takes strength. I'm not saying any of this shit is easy. You just snap your fingers and, oh, I don't care about it anymore. I've released it. No. There's processes, there's steps to it, right? But how you can heal your trauma is to start to realize or understand that that was a one-off instance. You are not destined to repeat this over and over and over. This is not a lesson that you need to carry forward with you. This is not something you need to continuously be aware of. That was a one-off person, a one-off situation that in the moment was a lesson. But we took it and we internalized whatever this trauma was. And now it's like we live by it and we see it everywhere. But the reason we're seeing it everywhere is because we're the ones manifesting it with our paranoia and with our fear. So even though we believe it at this point, it's become a seed, it's become a whole damn tree in our mind at this point, right? We believe it's out there. We know it's in every single person because every single person I come into contact with is exactly the same. I know. I don't care how deeply you know it. Understand it was a one-off situation and it's not this way. This is not to say that nobody ever in the entirety will be the energy of this trauma for you. But you don't have to keep experiencing it. You feel me? We don't have to keep trapping ourselves and manifesting it over and over and over again. Another way in which they're saying for you to heal, I think it's interesting. I just looked over and I saw this passive-aggressive notes writer. And again, they were saying earlier too, it's like to journal, to get it out. I don't give a fuck if you're passive aggressive. If that's the energy you're feeling, pile 2, that's what we need to express, right? We need to stop walking on eggshells. We need to stop dimming our light. We need to stop hiding ourselves away, hoping that somebody sees us. If we want to be seen, if we want to be seen in a certain way, we have to step out into that energy. I think you need to, whoever hurt you, if that's a situation here, I think you need to write them a note. And I think you need to explain exactly how you feel. For some of you, it might be enough just to write the damn thing, okay? Burn it on a full moon. For others of you, I really feel like it's important for you to deliver it. I think that it's important for you to express this energy and give the energy back if you can. If this is a situation where it's a stalker or something, girl, please don't, okay? Just release the energy back into the ground, right? Full moon meditation, like I said. But for those of you that can, say what's up to this person. Get this energy out. You'll heal. I promise you. And whatever this trauma is, they're saying has caused us to really hide away from the world, blindfold ourselves, turn our backs to it. It's almost this subconscious fear, right? So if it's we've been traumatized by the opposite gender or something like that, so now we're just afraid of all men or all women, they're all going to do this to me. If it's a job, that just keeps screwing you over, whatever. Every job I go to, every corporation's like this. There's no good corporations. If it's an ex or a friend or something telling you, a mom, you won't succeed, you can't do this. And so we think anything that we do, we're not going to be good at it. We're not going to succeed because we never were to them, right? We have to find a way to express its opposite, right? That's what your spirit guide said earlier. The way to heal anything in life really is to do the opposite of its energy. And I think on some level your soul has been trying to do that. It's let's use the success thing, because it's kind of the easiest to visualize, I think, for people, right? Let's say an ex told you were never going to make it, you were never going to be happy, whether that's in business or in a relationship, whatever. And so we searched and we tried and we worked really, really hard, and we were the best wife ever, and whatever, just to do the opposite, just to prove the point of to heal that, right? But proving is separate from healing. And so the opposite isn't actually in the task itself of pushing and being happy and succeeding to prove the other person wrong. It's to feel all of the emotions that you felt when they told you you wouldn't succeed. To feel all of the emotions now when you keep cycling back and looping back and feeling like you can't succeed at anything because you feel as if they've planted this seed in your mind to make you. We need to express that. We need to say that to them. Look, 5 years ago, you made me feel like a piece of shit, and you made me feel like I would never amount to anything. And I've spent the last 5 years of my life devoted to trying to be the things that you said I wasn't, just to heal, just to feel whole again. Realize that's the opposite. That's what you didn't do in that moment. You internally self-reflected, you carried it, you made yourself a victim of it, and then you pushed into your future to try to prove it wrong. And that's where the divide was. That's why you can't heal it, and it keeps coming up, and we're just entrapped in our mind, and now it's this own thing that's not even externally triggering us. It's our own holding on to what that person did, what that person said, how that situation made you feel, and we're still holding on to it, trying to prove its opposite, which is half correct. You feel me? The opposite is recognizing the emotion when we felt it, how that emotion is still affecting us now, and how can we express it? How can we get rid of it? Passive aggressive, no. Journaling, something, right? A lot. I don't know if I'll take all those, but this one for sure. The power of prayer, but in reverse, y'all. Resistance, doubt, deny, attachment. Yin and yang. Do you see this opposite gold, black energy? Whatever this trauma is for you, this person, this situation, I just heard for somebody, like, you are your own trauma. It's not even that anybody said anything. It's just this collective energy, societal pressure, whatever, fear on ourselves that we're telling ourselves something, right? Again, it's that internal. Whether it's you or it's another person, whatever the situation is, it's yin and yang. And it's this whole fucking pile is about yin and yang and balance and opposites and things like that, right? Whatever this trauma was, whatever the situation is, it feels like it has resonance because it feels like it's the other half of you, right? It's the opposite of how you want to feel. It's the opposite of how you want to live. Opposite of what you believe in, maybe. And because it's that literal opposite, we find ourselves attached to it. We deny maybe even that it's a trauma at all, and we just resist healing it because we feel as if we can fix it. It somehow fixes us. Again, bringing it back to that internal, right? This isn't about fixing somebody else, hoping somebody else changes. I mean, in some instances maybe, but very minimal. This is all self, and we resist what it actually takes to heal the opposite, because on some sort of subconscious level we're attached to it, and we feel like even though it's the dark part, even though it's the trauma, if we change it, if we heal it, we lose a part of ourself within it. Going back to using success, because I think that's just an easy example, if we do its opposite and say, I don't give a shit if I'm successful or not, because at the moment I cared when they told me I wasn't, then who are we? Because our entire life or the last 5 years or whatever's been going on, we've been striving towards this success or whatever it is for you, right? Striving towards this healing, striving towards this achievement, striving towards this starting over. So if we stop, it's almost like a piece of us dies. That's why I feel like we've been holding on to it so long. And I think it's interesting, if somebody's spirit guide just said, and I've heard this before from other people or other spirit guides, balance is not riding the middle. Balance is truly being able to swing from opposites. Like think of the yin and yang symbol, right? It's being able to flow through both energies back and forth, right? It's not a little of this and a little of that. It's flowing to one extreme and then knowing how to balance it out with its opposite, right? Like if you have something that's out of balance, like, think of a scale now, right? If one side is over balanced, well, you don't, put a little bit of it. You're putting more, you're not, how do I put this? Okay. Think of a scale, right? And if one side has everything, type A, and the other side has nothing, type B. In order to balance it, you're not going to put a little bit of B and a little bit of A, because that just adds more A. You only put B and B and B and B and B until it levels out, right? Do you understand this metaphor? I hope so. This is what they're showing to me. So you're not adding a little bit of each energy and trying to ride this balance and ride this middle. You need to do, in any situation, its opposite in order to heal. You got to give the opposite energy in order to balance it out. I would also say breathe in for y'all, especially, starting off with that Age of Swords there, and breath keeps coming up. So meditation, I think, is going to, they recommend meditation for literally everybody and everything, but being able to control your breath and control your breathing, I think is going to clear space in your mind to be able to, decompartmentalize, I guess, and like separate these emotions so you're able to sort of like detach from them. Breath work seems to be very important. Okay, we have tree, let them go. Were they talking about the tree and the seed in your mind, and it's become a whole ass tree now? Here it is. Here it is. Let them go. Let this person that told you weren't going to amount to nothing, let this person that abused you or manipulated you, whatever the situation is for you, you have to let them go. You have to burn this tree to the ground, even though we feel as if it's still somehow part of our identity. We have to let them go, y'all. We have to stop thinking this is like they're gonna change or they need to change, and like once they change and once they realize and once I show them how much I love them, how different I am, how much my life's put together, how successful I am, once I show them, then they'll understand. We have to burn that thought to the ground. If you really want to heal this, you're blocking your own ascension, friend, by holding on to this person, by waiting for this person. Even if this is somebody you've already let go of, like I said, this is an ex or something that we don't even like talk to anymore, but they've said certain things that have like shaped our opinion of our own self, right? Like we're still holding on to the energy of that person. We're still, every time we do something wrong or cringe a little at ourselves, we think back to this person. We have to let that go. We have to finally be able to burn this tree to the ground and let go. Who were you when you were with this person? How did you feel? And do the opposite of that, whatever that is, whatever this negative energy is that they made you feel. You have to literally do the opposite in order to let this person go. If you were going above and beyond to change yourself and do chores and keep the house nice and whatever just to keep them happy, then you need to stop doing that now. Don't do your chores just because you remember back to when this person, a parent or whatever, told you were lazy and you were a piece of shit. So I got to do my chores. I got to do my chores because if I don't, then I feel like I'm lazy and I'm a piece of shit. You don't actually feel that way. Somebody told you that. Somebody made you feel that way. And we never expressed that that's not true. That's not who I am. We just held on to it and we reflected and we tried to change ourselves, and now it's this big ass fucking seed within us, right? We gotta let that go and we have to do its opposite. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to just yell at you. They're yelling at me. On a logical, more practical note, y'all, again, like the writing, I think physical writing, not typing, writing with a pen on a piece of paper, is going to help you. Speaking, talking, like therapy, maybe to get over this trauma. Like I said, a friend or something like that. Journal, obviously, but it can be speaking also. And also like nature. I think getting out into nature, letting things grow. Like maybe if we're like planting house plants or pots or something like that, right? Watching this rebirth grow and like attaching ourselves to this new seed, this new tree, as opposed to this old one. Shit, girl, maybe even let one of your plants die just so you can see that it always brings new growth. You go get another one. You know what I mean? Pyrite, let the money flow in. So I kept using success and shit like that as, just an example, because I felt like it was something that was easy to understand, if you will. But with pyrite here and let the money flow in, like I really believe that somebody along the way told you that you weren't going to be successful, you couldn't run your own business. Maybe you're trying to run your own business and it's failing and we have this trauma, right, from it. Like, oh, my business failed and I'm traumatized now. Or like if you leave me, you're nothing without me and you won't be able to survive or pay for things or whatever. Like maybe that was a trap that somebody kept you in, right? So for some of you, I do feel like it's that. It's that somebody telling you you're not successful or feeling as if you failed monetarily in some way. Again, going back to maybe this is your own self-restrictions, right? Like the society pushing you to have this certain sort of amount of money or fame or followers or like whatever. And, you know, that's our fucking trauma. Maybe it's something we've told ourselves, right? Healing that, obviously we've been talking about it's doing the opposite. Pyrite, the crystal itself, I think is going to be very healing for a lot of you. So grab yourself a little piece of pyrite, especially if this is a success and work related thing. Keep it like in your office and things like that. The let the money flow in, I think, is an interesting energy on how you can sort of start to heal your traumas, regardless if this has to do with money or career. Letting the money flow in is literally in direct opposition from what everybody wants to do when it comes to money. Everybody wants to work really hard and think that they need to strive in order to get, and think that we're in control of how much money we receive to an extent, right? Letting the money flow in is literally the opposite of that. Making money is a masculine energy, but flowing is a feminine energy. Here we go with the yin and yang again, you know what I mean? So relating this to whatever your trauma is, even if it's not career oriented, it really is about letting things flow through you, pile 2. Letting things flow to you. You don't need to chase. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. You don't need to measure yourself or your worth or your value or your success or anything based on anything. You know, there is no measurement. Just let things happen, let things come to you, and allow that to be the proof to this other person, right? Allow that to be the proof to yourself that, holy shit, yeah, when I let this go and I don't push for it and strive for it, I actually receive it. Really, it's about stepping out of, I think we're too oversaturated in masculine energy of kind of pushing hard work, focus, grind, looking towards the future. How can I heal? How can I fix myself? Like, what can I do to be better? Even though some of these things are a good start, I think it's too over-energized in that masculine energy. So now we just need to flow. And part of that is releasing those emotions, letting those emotions to flow out of you. Even though you know you're sounding like a bitch and you might hurt somebody's feelings, you can have compassion for that, like afterwards, you know, if it's just like, I need to get this out. All right, pile 2. That's what I have for you. Remember, this trauma that we clicked on this video for, although it can for sure be an outside circumstance, the holding on to it and the reason we haven't healed is internal. So if we can detach from whatever that external circumstance was, if we can release that energy by expressing ourselves, by writing notes, journaling, talking to somebody, getting out more. I know that we want to hermit mode and we just kind of want to not be around people and whatever because they're all assholes and stuff. If we really want to heal this, we have to do the opposite. We got to get out. We got to have some fun. We got to interact a little more. And we need to start flowing. We need to allow emotions to, you know, come out, vomit out. We need to allow ourselves to flow a little more, stop putting so much pressure on ourselves, stop bringing this into the future over and over and over again, because again, it was a one-off, not a one-off thing. That's kind of what they're making me feel or say. But just this particular instance in trauma and situation that happened, it wasn't a reflection of you. I think it was more so a reflection of them or the situation, but we internalized it and we took it to heart. And your spirit guides are like, this is not part of your story. This is not part of your destiny. This is not a lesson that you need to be cautious of with everybody. You know, this isn't a lesson you need to keep relearning. The more you just like let it go and believe in yourself and stop self-reflecting to your own fucking detriment, you'll heal this, and you'll heal actually a lot of things in your life. And I think a lot of love and abundance, and specifically money, will flow in because of it. Okay? All right, friends. Thank you so much. This was your reading. I hope that you gained something from it. I hope it provided some guidance and helped you in some way. If not, I just hope it was entertaining to listen to watch, however you're hearing this today. If you want to buy any of these decks, they are available on my website, which there will be a link in the description box below. There's also links if you want to buy me a coffee or something, girl. If you want to book a private reading with me, I'm currently operating on same-day turnaround. I don't know when you're watching this video, but when I post it, I will be operating on same-day turnaround. So all of that will be in the description box below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and I'll see you next time. Hey, pile 3. If you chose the 8 of Pentacles, this is your reading. Little bit of a vibe change. I got different nails, different little setup. It's been a little while since I did the intro. You know, life. But if you chose the 8 of Pentacles, welcome. This is your reading. Today we're talking about what can we do to heal our traumas, right? How do we start healing our trauma? For you specifically, pile 3, the first thing that came through was working too hard. Whether that has to do with you, like your trauma is that you work too hard, which I do think is a piece of it, and we'll get into. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so much information. I'm sorry. There's a piece to this, you guys, where working too hard is the trauma itself. It feels like burnout. It feels like exhaustion. It feels like maybe we worked really, really hard and like lost something, maybe specifically a job, could be something else, right? Or something happened at work, which you know, made work life different. What I feel like there's something to do with work, working too hard, and that is the trauma within itself. There's also an energy of, you know, you using work as a distraction from maybe what the real trauma is. Like maybe there's a situation or a circumstance that happened at work, but like the real trauma and the real reason we feel this way has to do with something else. And it feels like we're distracting ourselves with work. Maybe in that sense, like we're putting all of the emphasis on work specifically, and it's work, and it's this situation, and it's this person, and it's this. It's not, in fact, how I was raised or a trauma I went through as a child or whatever, right? Like there's a lot of emphasis in this pile of like focusing or zeroing in almost on the wrong root cause. And then there's also this third meaning with y'all that they're showing me where I really feel like you've tried, like you've worked really, really hard to heal whatever this trauma is already. And maybe that's why we're here today. And maybe why, you know, we're here and we clicked on this video in this pile, because like, I think to an extent y'all are smart enough to understand how to heal this, to maybe from like a political or a PR perspective or something, like you know how you should handle this in order to heal it. But pile 3, it just kind of feels like I'm getting this vibe for you that you guys really have tried. Like I've already tried to heal this. I've already tried everything I can, and it seems to be taking over and infecting my life. And it just really gives me, sorry friends, my camera died. But anyways, like I was saying, there's almost this obsession I'm feeling coming through on this trauma specifically, and like this insane need to fix it, to work at it, and again, y'all, it's like it's like a distraction. They're almost showing it to me as like focusing and zeroing in, yes, on the issue, on the trauma, on the situation, zeroing in and focusing in trying to fix that. But I think what your spirit guides are saying is that, y'all, is a minor manifestation of a bigger trauma, and or this particular small manifestation, it's happened a few times before, right? So it's like compounding. And so it's almost like this obsession and a nitpicking of trying to fix this particular situation where maybe you just need to walk away. Maybe, we'll get into it. Maybe something else needs to happen. But I think a broader understanding of what's really going on and what's really bothering you, as opposed to just being like, I know it's this and I need to fix this. And there's also like a protective energy, a defensive energy for ourselves. Like, I've worked so hard to get where I am. I've worked so hard for my reputation. I've just worked so hard and put so much time and energy and money and space and whatever into this, that whatever this trauma, whatever this threatening situation is, it almost feels like it's still ongoing, I guess is what I'm saying. And we're still actively trying to figure out how to fix it without like taking a step back, bird's eye view, right? And seeing what the real issue is. And there's also this energy, y'all, they're telling me, where in terms of healing, because again, you guys are very smart and I feel like you know what it takes to heal, right? So I feel like you're doing these little things, right? Like, let's say they're giving me this example of somebody who's like, okay, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm gonna work on myself. I'm gonna like do some yoga. I'm gonna make sure my energy's right. I'm gonna make sure I devote this much time to work, and I devote this much time to my family, and I devote this much time to and like, it's like you're doing all of the things, yes, to help you heal, but your spirit guide's showing it to me almost like as a list of distractions. Like, well, if I do yoga, if I meditate, if I do this, if I do this, if I do this, if I do this, then that's going to heal all my things. And so what you're doing is you're just running around doing a bunch of mindfulness practices without actually practicing mindfulness. You know what I mean? And so again, it's like this obsessive zeroing in on the healing and the fixing that I think is what's actually preventing us from doing it. It's like honing our energy and our focus onto the situation, the problem. And if, I think this pile does know, if you know anything about the law of attraction and manifestation, is, okay, if I'm focusing on this energy, it's going to push it out and push it out and push it out, and I'm never going to get the thing that I want, because the energy I'm showing the universe is that I'm constantly focused on what I can't have. Therefore, I must want more of what I can't have, because I enjoy focusing on what I can't have. So the universe wants to bring you more things that you can focus on that you can't have, right? So the law of attraction and manifestation says, if you let it be known to the universe, this is the outcome I want. If you pray for that, if you meditate for that, whatever, and then you take a step back and you just flow and you just let the universe do whatever it does, it's going to say, oh, they wanted that. Well, here you go. You wanted it and you walked away from it. Clearly you want it, as opposed to focusing and telling me that you want more focusing energy. What you really want is to walk around and say, I want this aspect of my life, I want this aspect of healing, I want this, and then I just let the universe bring it to me, right? So it's like we're almost zeroing in on the healing, which is preventing us, I think, from making steps toward it. So the first step you can do in which to, start to heal this trauma, whatever this particular thing is to maybe not focus on it so much. And, easier said than done. I understand that. I'm human just like you are. I hate when the universe brings me these simplistic answers, but, simplicity is often the most difficult to achieve. And so, however far you've zoomed in, maybe just zoom a little bit out. You know what I mean? Like, we've zoomed so far in that we've packed our day full of mindfulness practices, but while we're sitting there being mindful, we're thinking about our next mindful thing we're doing, so we're not being present in that moment, right? So just zoom out a little bit and more and more and more and more until you realize like what that bigger issue is. And for this pile, honestly, I'm going to say I think it's a disassociation. I think that is a defense mechanism of something that happened to you way, way, way back in the past, and it's so deeply rooted in you, you don't even realize you're doing it. But I do feel like a little bit of obsession and disassociation are kind of the root causes of your individualized traumas that you are continuously experiencing. situation itself, okay, pile 3, may have been some sort of heartbreak. It may have been some sort of breakup. And listen, we're talking traumas, so this isn't just your average thing, right? It could have been some sort of heartbreak that we lost somebody. Maybe they passed away. Maybe, like I said, we broke up, or it's a job, right? And we got fired or something like that. It really feels like it was the loss of something, even if it's like respect, okay? It's the loss of something to some sort of commitment. And I'm getting a couple things. Like, one of the first things that they were saying is kind of stepping away from commitments and teaching ourselves how to remain detached from things, even if it is something like a job, right? Like, obviously, if it's a job, you need to be committed to it. It's your number one commitment on how you survive and make money and things, right? But our issue, right, is that obsession, then disassociation. And so if we can step back from committing ourselves to anything, so even if I do get this job and I'm trying to retire and this and that, I can still take a step back and focus on the retirement or the life I want to live or whatever that this job is building me to, without saying that it has to be this job specifically. And what I mean by that, pile 3, is when these small traumas continuously pop up for you, I think it's really just the universe trying to push you and flow into a different direction. But then we obsess over, like, let's just say it's a job. I think it's an easy visualization. And something happened at work and somebody blamed you for something, okay? And, we want to stay and fix it, and I need this job, and I can't get in trouble, and you do whatever you can to, like, not lose this job, right? Well, in that moment, I think that was the universe trying to push you maybe to another job. But we had to obsess over it, right? And say it's this one-off instance, it's this one-off employee, it's this one-off thing, instead of realizing maybe the bigger issue with us is that we're always disassociating from our path. And that we're not flowing with the universe when it pushes these challenges in front of us, and these I'll say awful things we have to go through just to push us into better ones. But we stay in the awful thing and we try to fix it and commit to it. No, I only got 5 years left till I retire. Or like, no, I've been with this person 10 years. I'm not going to give up now. And like, when really the universe is just trying to push you towards your abundance, push you away from it, right? So for right now, I think how you can learn to start, healing this trauma is detachment. I think it's going to be not making certain commitments. I think it's looking at everything in your life as something that is tangible and could at any moment in time go away, and face that fear, y'all, that at some point in time, this may end. It is possible that this could go awry, that vibrations could change, that this person decides they don't love me anymore, that this person accidentally passes away, that I lose my job or my house or whatever. Like, these things can happen. So we need to confront those fears now, pile 3, and tell ourselves those are just flows from the universe. Those are just directional transitions on our path, okay? And detach from the idea that, like, okay, I want love, so it has to be with this person. If I break up with this person, if this person says that I'm a piece of shit and they hate me and they don't want to be with me anymore, then I'm never going to have love again, because love was that person. Pile 3, that's attachment and that's obsession. Okay? If we can just say, I want love, and all of a sudden the person I'm in love with decides they don't want to be with me anymore, or they're going to cheat on me, or whatever it is that is awful and is going to fucking traumatize me, I'm going to say, whew, universe pushed me away from that person because there's somebody better. Because I was detached. When I got with that person, I said, yes, I love that person completely. Yes, I love that person with my whole heart. And if they ever hurt my feelings, I'm going to be heartbroken and I'm going to be traumatized by it. But I'm detached enough and spiritual enough and ascended enough to know that what's going to come after that is the thing that I want. I'm already detached from it. And because I'm detached from it, that person's never going to do that. That person's never going to treat me that way, because I'm not zeroed in and focused on the energy of maybe it would. So we need to detach. And they're even showing me this, dude, like if you want to take it, if that's too big, like whatever sort of, like you're trying, words, can we please put words? Thank you. You're trying to like download an app or something, y'all. And it's like, whatever, I don't know, something crazy, $14.99 a month. But if you pay for the 12 months, it's only $6.99 a month. And you're like, oh my God, fuck yeah, well, that's not too bad. I'll just pay for the whole year now. Girl, you don't know where you're going to be a year from now. You don't know if you're going to like that app a year from now. You feel me? Even though it's more expensive now, it is present and it's living in the moment. It's not committing yourself to one specific entity, one specific situation or person or path, right? If Netflix has a 3-month trial, just do the fucking 3-month trial. You don't need to buy a whole thing. What if 6 months from now there's a brand new app, a streaming app that's even better than Netflix was, and now you got to pay for both of them because you know what I'm saying? These are silly, stupid examples, but I think your spirit guide is kind of funny. So, these are silly, stupid examples, but I think what they're talking about is even if you want to bring it back down to a practical level, making these small changes and just approaching everything in life as non-attachment is going to help you heal this particular situation that you're so worked up about, but also the past ones. And it's also going to prevent it from like happening again, from cycling again, because this particular trauma, this particular pile feels like a cycle. Like it almost keeps coming back up. It keeps presenting itself in different ways, not just because you're thinking about them, which is what like pile 2 was. Like it kept coming back around because they kept perpetuating it with their thoughts. I think for you, it's external. I think for you, it's physical materialization, right? I got with this person and they cheated on me. Then I got with the next person, they cheated on me. I got with the next person and they cheated on me, right? Like it's physically manifesting over and over. So we have to, so it's different from pile 2, right? Like it does feel external, but we have to take that step back. And I think by being sort of non-committal, and I'm not talking about non-committal like we don't take a job because it's a commitment. Like we don't move in with our partner because it's commitment. No. Do all of those things if your soul feels called to do them. But the energy of non-attachment, I don't know where I'm going to be 5 years from now, so I'm not making no commitments 5 years from now. If I feel that way now, today, and I want to do that today, sure. You know what I mean? But not being attached to the idea of whatever this energy is today that I enjoy, needing it and obsessing and desiring it to be all that it is for the future to come, because then that's attachment. You feel me? Y'all, it's rewiring your brain. I really feel like how you can start to heal your particular trauma is to rewire your brain and or just understand how the human brain works. And yes, I'm talking about like on a scientific level, because remember I said y'all are intelligent. I know y'all is my smarties, okay? You're smarter than me, girl. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just channeling. But seriously, like neuroscience, right? Neuro-knowledge, like understanding your mind and your brain and the frequencies and the energy waves and psychology and, why I'm doing the thing that I'm doing, as opposed to just trying to fix it like on a physical level, on like a working level, on like a doing things level. It's really kind of sitting and understanding your mind, truthfully. I think for you, there's always kind of 2 paths that you're trying to take, like in any sort of challenge or trauma or situation or whatever. It's like there's this path that you feel called to take, this path that you are like, man, in a perfect world, if I wasn't afraid of anything, I would just fucking whatever, get fired, bitch, say what you gotta say, right? But then there's this other path that keeps us a little too grounded in reality, a little too in the 3rd dimension, and is based off survival. Right? And your spirit guide is saying that this is the path that you tend to take. You tend to take the survival one, as opposed to the one of just like letting it flow and letting shit crumble and rebuild and, holding on to the notion of the larger manifestation, right? Love, affection, money, success, like the bigger and not zeroing it down to like this job and I have to pay rent and I have to do, right? It's like you always have these two paths in your spirit. What, isn't that like a poem or something? And I take the road less traveled. They want you to take the road less traveled, specifically for you and your thought process, not the road less traveled necessarily for everybody else, but for you. If you're somebody that floats in and out of jobs and can't fucking keep a job, maybe for you, the opposite path is to stay, you know? It doesn't have to necessarily be opposites. It's just for you, pile 3, there's always like two parts of your soul, I almost feel. Like one always is trying to go this way and one's always trying to go this way. And I think the universe keeps bringing challenging, I'll say it, traumatizing, I'll say it, situations to you because it's almost like you're not getting it, that we need to take the other path. So I almost feel like every time this trauma cycles back for you, it's almost like a little more intense. It kind of hurts a little more because we're compounding this energy. So they're big challenges, I'm not gonna lie to you, but your soul's always trying to go two different ways, and because we're not choosing the way that our soul wants to go as opposed to the way that our soul thinks that it should go, I feel like that's what keeps kind of perpetuating this for you. So it's really about, I mean, some great reading material are the Seth Speaks books. They're very like analytical, kind of, you know, y'all are giving me the vibe of being like very intelligent. Okay, maybe you're high up at your jobs or you're in college or something like that, right? And you're kind of like used to psychoanalyzing things. And so the Seth Speaks books by Jane Roberts are a great place to start. They're a little hard to read just because they're so analytical like that. But I think they would be really good for this pile in particular. But if not that, just like psychology, understanding. I just heard sociology and then I saw a spirit guide shake their head. So no, again, pile 3, this isn't about external circumstances. Knock it off. This isn't about understanding how everybody else is so we can fit in with that flow of that path. No. This is psychology. This is you. This is how your brain works, how your neurons and whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I said, I'm just channeling this shit. Understanding how your mind works, I think, and then training your brain, right, to pull back and do those things, I think is going to help you on your next step to healing this. I can already feel y'all's brains just like going, like analyzing. I can't even get these cards out, my gosh. Okay. Oh my God, this came out in pile 2. Crazy. Tree, let them go. This is really giving me, like, it says let them go, so maybe for some of you this is like a person or something like that, okay? Which is kind of the message that was in pile 2 as well. But for you guys specifically, I feel like it's more so like a tower card. You know what I mean? The tower in the tarot. Where I think that how you can start to heal this trauma is to literally just like let this burn. Like, I don't care how that makes you look, you know, if it's walking out on this job, if it's whatever, and we're afraid of how we'll be perceived, like, I don't care. Like, if you want to heal this, again, we have to be non-committal. We have to walk away from the situations that the universe is trying to burn down for us. Otherwise, we get burned if we stay. You feel me? Bar. Like, I really think staying at this job or staying wherever you find yourself in this trauma, dude, stuck in it, I feel like it's really just time to flow with the universe. I think it's really time to just allow everything to burn to the ground and just allow people to think what they think and allow fucked up shit to come into our life so we can face it head on, and then we can just choose to move away from it, right? That's the thing, dude. In life, like, you always have a choice in literally everything. And all life is finding what you enjoy, like what you physically, vibrationally, energetically align with. And it's up to you. If you like that alignment, great, stay with it. If you don't, or if it changes all of a sudden, like best friends with somebody and then their vibration changed, 10 years later, like it's okay to walk away from that. It's okay to allow that friendship to crumble to the ground so we can make way for a new one, At this point, I think it's very important to start over, man. To not be so obsessed and committed to one particular situation and trying to heal it and trying to fix it. Like, I think working too hard is the issue. Like, trying to fix it is the issue. Law of attraction, were we not talking about this? Action, thought, feeling, diligence. See the humor, but we have it in reverse. Serious, perspective, negativity, grumpy. And that's kind of the energy, Pile 3, y'all are giving me, is like, we're so serious and we're so like hell bent on being proper and doing the right thing and like maintaining appearances and following through on our commitments and shit. And it's like we're just missing the humor in the universe of like we're always flowing, we're always moving towards what we want and what we are receiving, we are attracting. Know that every thought that you have creates your reality you are experiencing. We're in a slow dimension, so it may take some time to like manifest, okay? But if it's manifesting and happening to you, it's because you've thought it at one point. It has never crossed my mind, y'all, that someone's gonna cheat on me. Like, that's just never been in my mind. I don't know. I've seen it happen to people. I've seen it in movies. I've seen, homies that I've dated that like could probably do that. But I just never saw that. And therefore, to my knowledge, to my reality, it's never happened to me. But for people that have worried about that, maybe it's never happened to them, but they see it in the movies, they see it happen to their friends. They're like, oh my God, this is like a real thing that can happen. Maybe some of y'all got cheated on because that keeps coming up. I could get cheated on. That could happen to me. And, if you don't love yourself enough, then you may think like, yeah, of course they're going to cheat on me because, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not whatever. And because you have those thoughts, guess what? It eventually happens. It happened to those friends, right? And I just say that to make you understand that like every action, every thought that you have does create an action down the line. So we need to rewire our brains. Look at this whole brain and everything. And our thoughts to be the outcome that we want. It's rewiring your brain, Pile 3. I understand it's not going to do that on its own. Like, you have to catch yourself in it, laugh about it, and let go of that negative thought. Let go of that commitment, of that obsession. And I promise you it'll heal this. I promise you it'll heal this. Not only will it heal it, it'll manifest whatever it is that you've been like sort of running from, Rhodonite. Find a way to forgive. Okay, most glaringly obvious. I really feel like the Rhodonite crystal will help you. It has a lot to do with like the heart chakra, but also the root chakra and sort of like relationships and stability and things like that. I think it's interesting. It says find a way to forgive, and whatever the current situation is going on, whatever the current, like the most recent trauma that's happened to us that's kind of, brought us here, I think we have to forgive that person, that situation, more so ourselves. And somebody's spirit guide just said, and the universe. Like, we need to forgive the universe for bringing us such difficult lessons, because at the end of the day, it was for something. It was to help you, At the end of the day, we have to forgive that bitchy coworker that told on us, that got us in this position to begin with, because at the end of the day, this was just a manifestation of the universe telling me it's time to move on to something else. It's time to learn something new about myself, right? It's time to let go of something. So we need to find forgiveness for all of those shitty things that have happened to us, all of the ways those people have treated us. We have to find humor in it, okay? And we have to rewire our brains. We have to rethink how we are healing, and we're not just distracting ourselves and filling up our day with a bunch of things, but rather really get into our psyche, really get into our mind and understand how we react in certain situations to be better prepared going forward. That way it's not a trauma if it happens again. But I promise you, if you retrain your mind and your brain in this way, it's not going to happen again, because you create your own reality. You feel me? All right, friends, that was your reading. I certainly hope that it helped you in some way. It gave you some sort of guidance and something to work on. I enjoyed channeling this pile for sure. But if not, I just hope it was genuinely entertaining to listen to or watch, however you're doing this here today. If you want to buy any of the decks that I've used, there will be a link in the description box below, as well as links if you want to buy me a coffee, or even book a private reading with me. I am currently, as the date of releasing this, operating on same-day turnaround, although, I get busy pretty fast. But all of that will be linked in the description box below. And until I see you again, friends, namaste.